Hello, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, whatever I've got set up at this point. If you're wondering why I'm in a different outfit than what I was on the thumbnail or in most of the video, it's because I got to the end of this video. I edited it. I posted about it. I teased. I talked. I was so excited. And then I chopped off the very end of the video. So, because I did that, I'm going to go ahead and film it again. I'm going to film the parts that I missed in the outfit that I'm wearing today. As well as I'm going to go ahead and say some things at the beginning of this video because I originally filmed it at the end, but it occurred to me that if I wanted it to be in front of who it needed to be in front of, it probably needs to be at the beginning of the video. This is not a message for any of you, but I know there's somebody watching me because there'll always be somebody watching me the rest of my life. You remember all those times that I told you that you couldn't build a wall big enough to keep me in? Guess what? I was right, and I told you I'd be right. Don't know how many times. I'm still out here doing my thing. I'm still being cute. I went right back to it, and all those times that you told me that I couldn't do things without letting my whole body hang out and that was the only reason anybody followed me, you were wrong. It's actually really funny that I had to film this and put it in the video a little later, but I did it. I did the thing, and I don't have to prove it to anybody. I know that you know what I'm saying, but I did the thing, and I'm doing it regardless of whether I have my body hanging out or not. People genuinely like me. You were wrong, and people like me, and regardless, they're gonna like me, and I'm gonna keep growing because I'm cool, and to be honest, you kind of suck, but I hope that works out for you, bud, and I hope that your life gets better, because mine, we're just doing swimmingly over here, my friend. So anyway, let's get to the video. Okay, class, so I've tried this 110 different ways. I've tried reading from a teleprompter. I've tried a lot of things. And for some reason, I cannot do such a thing. What we're going to do now is I'm going to take my handy dandy little 6 pages of friggin' notes here. And I'm just going to try to wing this because this is something that I'm super passionate about. And I've been wanting to do this for a while. We're going to do it. I want to introduce you to what this YouTube channel is because this is going to be my first actual video on this YouTube channel. That isn't a bunch of lives or just me filming something silly out of the blue, okay? This YouTube channel is a chance for me to talk about whatever I want. I don't really care what you want to see me talk about. You can make a suggestion. I really like suggestions. However, nobody's going to tell me what to talk about, and we're going to talk about music. We might talk about ponies. We might talk about guinea pigs. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. This is my first video, and it is going to be full Stinkfist from my perspective. Okay, so let's get started. Stinkfist was their first industry single and the first music video released for Enema. The song's title was so offensive that when it released on MTV's 120 Minutes, they wouldn't say the name. They just referred to it as track 1. When host Matt Pinefield was asked about the name of the song in numerous emails from Tool fans, he said, if you want to know the name of the song, go out and buy the album. The song, according to Maynard, is about his hate of fame. However, this song is so powerful. It's so powerful. It fits in so many different situations. And I honestly think that even what I'm interpreting it as isn't the only situation that it fits for. But what we're going to go through is what my interpretation is. I first discovered the song in high school, and it was one of 3 Tool songs that I had on repeat. But upon never experiencing anything that made me resonate with the lyrics, I can't say I ever really delved into them. It was probably my favorite song behind Prison Sex at the time. Now, I had seen TikToks about what a narcissist was, okay? And I've seen it so often that it's almost like this word has lost its meaning. However, even before the person who ruined this song for me came into my life, I had been around narcissists. It's just that back then my family and I and most of society didn't exactly have a word for it. We just called it evil. No matter what you did for this person, no matter how good you were to this person, no matter what you dug straight out of your soul and handed to them, it was never good enough. They was just evil. There wasn't ever going to be anything that you could do, even his children, to cause him to be good to you or to really care about your feelings or empathize with anything you were going through whatsoever. So years later, when I found myself in this position, it's kind of screwed up to think about now. When I saw it happening to my mom and say when I saw it happening in other relationships with this person, I knew it was wrong. And now I can understand from their point of view and not from a child's point of view. The narcissist does that to you. They make it to a point where you excuse their behavior because they almost make you this person that has some sort of inherited awful defect as a human. You're deserving of this treatment because there is something missing in you as a person fundamentally. In my case, it was after all, why would any right-minded person just treat me so awful out of the blue? Much less 2. That's exactly the thinking that they want you to have. They want you to say, Why would someone treat me this way? I must have done something terribly wrong. Oddly enough, both of the narcissists that have been in my life know each other. They're friends. They're the same type of dudes, so it makes sense. They both operate on the same searching for the weak function. They both will bleed the soul right out of you if it keeps them occupied for a while. And they both cannot maintain a normal relationship. But I'll tell you something that I find absolutely wild about my narcissists is that when they talk about me. So, back to the point, years later, when I found myself trying to leave this relationship, I couldn't listen to the song. Anytime I'd go to turn it on, I'd just immediately start crying and breaking down. And the reason being is because I didn't have a name for what I was feeling. I hadn't actually put time into putting two and two together into what was going on. But I knew that what he was saying in my head sounded like it was coming straight from this person's mouth. I would actually sneak during the day to listen to music while he was at work. So I never was able to look up and see that other people were making this connection to the song. All I knew was that I couldn't listen to it anymore. So once I ended up out finally after a long, drawn out 3 years, I just so happened to scroll past it one day on my way to work. And my thumb was like, hit it, hit it, hit it. And I didn't. I thought, no, I can't do this. I'm going into work. I have to be able to be mentally capable. And this might have happened about 10 times of me going past it and going past it and going past it. Until one day I thought, he shouldn't take that song from me. I love that song. I love Tool. And I played it. And I'm not going to lie to you. That first time, man, I broke down and cried like a newborn baby girl. And after that, it became kind of every time I'd sing a little more, and every time I'd get a little more into it, and every time I would, get a little more excited to hear it. And suddenly, this was my song again. And I took it back. And now this is my song. This is my favorite song. Letting the song back into my headspace was pain, and it was pleasure, and it was just beauty, all wrapped up into one big experience. And I know that maybe that's taking something so mundane and pulling something from it that just sounds cringy and cliche. However, I don't really care because I absolutely, again, love this song. So now that you have the needed context, let's go ahead and get down to the meat and potatoes. This is the part I'm actually excited about. Our song opens with that signature sound. You know what I'm talking about. That weird screeching almost. The second you hear it, you know which Tool song this is. In my head, I always hear that initial screech like you're coming out of a tunnel and you see the light and it's getting brighter and brighter. And once you come up to the top, I'm right there in my kitchen, looking out my window as the guitar starts. The riff of the guitar even is reminiscent of having to get out of bed and make somebody's breakfast when you've been up all night listening to some crap about yourself that you know is not true. But you got to get up and you got to make breakfast, and you got to get shoes ready, and you got to get socks ready, and you have to get an outfit together. Tomorrow's going to come whether you like it or not. And that sound reminds me so much of dragging my feet just coming into existence every single day. There's no way out. And that's the tone of the life that is living with a narcissist. Then we get into our first line. Something needs to change. An undeniable dilemma. Boredom's not a burden anyone should bear. These lines to me are so representative of the narcissist's ability to just put you through absolute fire for nothing more than boredom. And when I actually get down to it, I equate it as boredom. You need that constant stimulation to let you know that you're not this empty hole of a person that you've decided that you are. And the reason that you've got there is because of pure boredom. You haven't built yourself, you haven't done anything. So instead, you have to seek out people who have built themselves and slowly tear them down. We all know where this song is going from the title. And upon listening to it for the first year or so on my playlist, I never actually rooted through the lyric. I thought it was just a gross song meant to be offensive. When I finally did understand what the name of the song and the chorus was reflecting, it sent a shock of dysphoria to my shoulders and down my spine. And now that I've lived through the experience that I've lived through, to hear that over and over again is almost like a callus for the wound. And so now we move on to the next line. Constant overstimulation numbs me, but I would not want you any other way. I used to ask myself a lot, what comes of a person who has to constantly lie to themselves and everyone around them to keep from hating what they see in the mirror? I mean, having to take everyone else's inventory constantly to keep from taking your own must be exhausting. And it must be absolutely mind-numbing to constantly make up scenarios where you're the funniest, most desired person in the room. They're always mad. Everything's always a problem. Nothing will ever be right. Nothing is ever good enough. In my personal situation, the person that I dealt with had a really bad habit of taking stories that they had heard from other people and other people's accomplishments and just switching around the names in the stories so that it was about them. And then say you ever heard someone tell those stories and you asked them why their story sounded exactly like his story, oh my gosh, you'd be in for mouthing for days. You would be into listening to every single flaw you've ever had since kindergarten for a week. But I mean, that's poking a little hole in their mask there, and they have to be able to keep you down so that way they can feel higher. This line is beautifully twisted because not only does it work for narcissistic relationships, it definitely works for all types of different codependent relationships as well as addiction. It's just a wonderful line. I love it. Then we have a total tone shift when we come in for the chorus. It's just not enough. I need more. Nothing seems to satisfy. I don't want it. I just need it. To breathe, to feel, to know I'm alive. The title with the shift is exhilarating. I mean, this right here is where the song takes a whole change. The title of the song lets you know how heinous they are willing to go just to get that feeling of being alive. But it's also something so invasive. I just love the symbology, because this is attacking you from the inside out. All of it is just to keep up a constant fantasy that you let them do this to you because they are above and beyond and you could not live without them. In my case, that wasn't the case. I didn't actually love this person. I don't think I did from the beginning. I picked them because I thought that physically they would be on a level that they would treat me nice, because I'd always heard from everyone, pick the person that's not what you would go for physically, and they'll treat you good. That's not true. Sometimes those men turn out to be the devil. My favorite part about this chorus is the desperation of the last few lines. I don't want it, I just need it. To breathe, to feel, to know I'm alive. They feel so dead inside, they're willing to do anything to you. Anything, just to have that moment to feel alive. Something so sick and twisted and painful and awful. This chorus is sick, it's dark, it's demented, it's gross. I love it. We get a little more offensive now with finger deep within the borderline. Show me that you love me and that we belong together. Relax, turn around and take my hand. Yes, we all know that that line right there is the start of the real disgust to the song, but I want you to pay attention to that second line right there. It's repeated twice in the song. It's actually our first introduction into another person into this plot. At first, he was only seeking a willing participant. Now we have someone on the hook. The placement of these specific lines to me always seems reminiscent of the love bombing at the beginning, and then it's said after all the terribleness through the song at the very end, which is reminiscent of breadcrumbing. If you don't know what these terms mean, love bombing is when you enter a relationship with a narcissist. They love everything about you. They can't get enough. You hung the moon. And after that initial love bombing phase, it begins to slide and it progressively gets worse very quickly. And breadcrumbing is what they do throughout the relationship. As they do terrible things to you, they'll give you little tiny bits of affection to try to keep you coming. In my case, it wasn't so much as that I wanted the affection. I wanted the normalcy of a family. And I think that this person sought me out and knew that because, as I said, they knew the narcissist that was previously in my life, and they had also dealt with other people who had dealt with that narcissist. I think that I was a gigantic walking target to someone like that, especially considering at the time I was like my most genuine self. I was probably a whole prize to take home and mount on the wall. Every time I hear these lyrics, that's what I think of. Moving on, I can help you change tired moments into pleasure. Say the word and we'll be well upon our way. This is my second favorite line because I love how it's presented as a favor to the proposee. In my case, it was always so strange watching this person try to convince me that what I wanted was to be selfless and altruistic and give up every desire that I had because I should want to serve them as a person. Who wouldn't want to serve such a successful and high value person? I should jump to their every whim. I should agree with their every crusty opinion. I should just constantly be a yes man there to stoke your self-esteem and keep you running at a decent pace and to keep you from ever realizing and trying to self-actualize what it is that is wrong with you. Little did he know, every single day I was spending wishing every single second away until I could get to bed and dream about being anywhere else but stuck in a house with him. And somehow, even after watching all this, watching all my hobbies go away, my looks, my interests, my wants, my desires, watching all of that fade away, this person never had a clue that I would be miserable. Instead, they made my character itself into a flaw and set out to make me change. And now we get to the line that is interchangeable. Blend and balance, pain and comfort, till you will not want me any other way. This reminds me of the constant tearing down of your security. For the person talking in this song, I think that would be the blend and balance. I can blend and balance what I need in you. Let me start by saying about this line, I love that it is interchangeable. The UI is just great. That's genius. I love that this was used twice and works for both sides on this song. This is genius. You can all go home now. Maynard's got it handled. We're done. But this reminds me of the constant tearing down of your security so you're so shook you can't leave. It even comes to a point where, like, once you get out, you don't process normal interactions the same way. Say you go to, like, talk to somebody new and they're not telling you what to do and constantly up in your business. I interpreted that for a while as that they didn't like me. I'm kind of unlearning that now, but it really does mess with your sense of what's normal and what's not. And I think the pain and comfort blend and balance is very significant with that. For the narcissist, your pain is their balance. That's their harmony. Having you at the bottom and being able to control your every move is absolute harmony for them. The next chorus isn't much different, except for we get a little deeper into the borderline. I know you've noticed every chorus that we go a little deeper, but if you pay attention, the line that at first was show me that you love me and that we belong together is now this may hurt a little, but it's something you'll get used to. Yes, right now in the song where we are in the progression of this relationship, it's gonna hurt a little, but I love that we already know the name of the song and we know that at some point this is going to hurt a lot. And I also love the line of it's something you'll get used to, because that's exactly what they expect. And every time that the stimulation of hurting you isn't enough, it's going to go a little further. So you're going to get used to hurting. Yes, right now it's going to hurt a little, but we see throughout the song the progression gets steadily more and more painful, but the proposee is expected to get used to it. This line fits my experience better than any other line in this song. Now we come to the lines that are neither in a verse or in a chorus, and they are also absolute genius. Something kind of sad about the way that things have come to be. Desensitized to everything. What became of subtlety? The what became of subtlety line always hits me so hard, because I feel like at a point I kept trying to make it better and trying to make it better and trying to make it better, and I would do that with like normal responses for the longest. But it comes to a point where your responses, nothing I ever did was processed. They keep a list of insults for you that every time you try to point something out to actually work on things or make things better, they pull that out, so nothing ever gets processed. So progressively your actions get bigger and louder and more because you're trying anything that you can to just break through this person. But they've already got a whole thing set up for you, and that's what they want, is for you to act crazy. Unsubtle, if you will. The rest of these lines remind me at the end, because once you've gotten to a point where you've lost everything and they're desensitized to everything, they'll still continue to try to take. And they'll take and take even after you don't have it to give. You can be at your bottom of bottoms, and they'll be at the top of the hole looking down at you thinking, why haven't you broke your back to climb up here and help me? Remember when I told you were going to see me in this later? Here I am. So the next line that we have here is, how can this mean anything to me when I really don't feel anything at all? And that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what this is. That line right there always really catches me, because I spent so long like thinking that like this relationship was turbulent and that there was like something I was doing or something that I could do to cause it to like be different. But in my case, like sometimes I would catch the person literally laugh, like they would say something horrible and act like they were concerned that I was like this terrible person, and then they turn around and be chuckling under their breath. It doesn't mean anything to them. They don't feel any of that. They're just pretending to. And it's going to put you through absolute hell, and you're going to fall to your knees a million times, crying and pleading and begging and just please let me go back to normal. But it doesn't matter to them. It's all a game. It's not actually something that they're sad about whatsoever, or worried about, or even concerned about. They're actually happy that they're causing you to act this way. And then the last line that is any different from anything else in the song, the very last line that, is in the last chorus that changes, is I'll keep digging until I find something. And that also is just so, it fits narcissism so well. I mean, it even when everything is absolutely perfect, they will keep digging and keep digging and keep digging and keep digging. It's almost like the goal is to always keep you hurting. And I'm pretty sure that's probably what it is. I haven't done a lot of research into this, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is. This song is just from start to finish. It's so pretty, and I don't even like have the words to be able to accurately convey how big this song is. And I know that this doesn't just apply to narcissism, but anytime I hear it, it's like validating. Again, love the song, love Tool, wonderful song. Give it a listen. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. Let me know if you think I'm completely off on some parts. Let me know if you agree on some parts. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, please. All that good stuff. Also, by this time, I should have plenty of social media. I know that I've been posting on TikTok a ton. My Facebook has recently become fully monetized. So comments, likes, shares, all of that really helps. Make sure that, you know, you're watching me, because there's going to be more videos coming out. I have more time now. I have a lot of ideas that I'm wanting to put forward. Subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notifications. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope for lots more in the future. If you didn't like this video, I understand that this type of music is not everybody's cup of tea, but you know, if you still want to be supportive, leave a like and a comment. I love y'all. I'll see you later.